Marco Di Jacinto.
Is now joining.
Dwayne Pender.
Is now joining.
Doug Hayington.
Okay, good
Is now
afternoon.
joining.
It is now 5 p.m. and we will begin our Committee of Adjustment meeting.
Mark.
Is now joining.
We will be dealing with each application in the order of
Mark.
the agenda.
Is now joining.
This is a virtual public meeting and we ask for everyone's patience. I
Is
would
now
also like to
joining.
note that this is a statutory public meeting.
Marco Di Jacinto.
The committee
Is
will be
now
making
joining.
their decision following each application. Anyone interested in the decision must notify the Secretary
Hayington.
Treasurer Sherry Mott.
Is now
Please list the
joining.
file number and your full name and mailing address. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. Anyone wishing to speak regarding an application will be given an opportunity to do so. I will ask that any member of the public that wishes to speak, please state your name for the record. I will also let you know when it is time for you to unmute and speak, and I would like to remind everyone to please remain muted unless you are speaking. Planning staff will be presenting reports and will be present to answer any questions of the committee or members of the public. And I'm going to do a roll call of the committee. Okay, Adam Very.
Here.
Alan.
Present.
Lisa. Okay, Lisa's away. Marcel.
Yes.
And Rudy. Rudy, are you there? Okay. The first order of business is to determine if any of the committee members have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications we will be dealing with today. Are there any disclosures?
Is now joining.
Okay, I hear none. All committee members should have received and read the minutes of the November 17th meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, I hear no errors or omissions. Then I have a resolution that the minutes of the committee adjustment meeting held Wednesday, November 17th be adopted as circulated. Can I have a member move that recommendation?
Adam moves.
Thank you, Adam. A seconder?
Alan will second that.
Thank you, Alan. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy, I don't know if you're here yet. Okay, and I'm in favor, so the minutes are approved. Okay, the first application is file number BNPL 2021109. That application has been appealed, so that is off of the agenda for tonight. So the first application that we'll be dealing with tonight is file number BNPL 2021023. The applicant is Mark Fitzgerald, and the address is 174 Queen Street South in Simcoe, and that is for a severance. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage and width of 12 meters, a depth of 95.7 meters, and having an area of 1,148 square meters, and retaining a parcel having an area of 888 square meters as a creation of a lot within the town of Simcoe. The back portion of the lot has an higher elevation and contains a wooded area identified as a significant woodland on the official plan. The subject lands are vacant. A single detached dwelling with an attached garage A proposed accessory residential dwelling unit and 2 parking spaces in the front yard are proposed to be developed. Currently, the retained lands are occupied by an existing single detached dwelling with a deck, a detached garage, and what is proposed is an ADU and an additional rear yard parking space. Please note that an amendment has been made to articulate a condition regarding servicing requirements for this application and the following application, ANPL 2021027. Staff note that in order to comply with section 9.6.3.2, subsection FI and section 3.5.2 of the official plan, it's recommended an environmental impact study should be completed to ensure no harm will be done to the ecological form and function of the significant woodlands on site. It is also the opinion of staff seeking 2 front yard parking spaces does not meet the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Additionally, there remain some key dimensions not clearly articulated in the application for key items such as parking width, and a minor variance to permit 2 front yard parking spaces was not requested by the proponent or circulated to the public.
David Rowe.
Staff recommend that the application
Is
be
now
deferred
joining.
to allow Norfolk County to provide the proper notice regarding the requested minor variance for front yard parking and time for the applicant to complete the necessary environmental work, as well as provide the applicant an opportunity to work with staff to amend the application and submit an additional minor variance application for the severed parcel.
Thank you. Okay, do the committee members have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions for staff. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may do so now. Okay, is there an agent or applicant on the line that wishes to add any additional information?
Yes, Nick Thompson. I'd like to speak in regards to this. Two points with this one as per the deferral or the reasoning of the deferral. This is something that was just brought to the attention of the applicant in less than a week ago, even though the application's been in for well over a year. The rear portion of the lot has actually already been severed off, and the significant woodlands has been dealt with Adam Biddle already, and he has written a letter saying that there's nothing significant in there. This has been on file for a couple of months with the severance of the back section of this lot. So if anything, I'm just looking for a little bit of clarification of why this would actually be deferred.
Okay, I'm going to refer that to planning staff to answer.
Thank you. Through the chair, our understanding on evaluating the application was that we did not receive a letter from Adam Biddle. We also met with the agent, Carolyn Yeager, to discuss the concerns and kind of address these ideas. And additionally, the minor variance for the front yard parking was not captured or circulated to the public, so that would be a requirement as set out by the Planning Act.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions? Okay. We currently have a recommendation from staff that the application be deferred, and could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Alan moves the deferral.
Thank you, Alan. And I need a seconder.
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. Okay. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
John.
Message to Mike. What a pleasure to be here today, joined with Minister Gould.
Is now exiting.
Sorry, Marcel?
Says yes.
Okay. And Rudy, I see you've joined us. Okay. Did he join in, Jerry? Okay, we can't hear Rudy. And I'm in favor of deferral, so that application has been deferred. Okay. The next application is file number ANPL 2021-027. The applicant is Mark Fitzgerald. The
is now
address
joining.
174 Queen Street South in Simcoe, and this is for a minor variance, and I will ask staff to give that report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through the previous severance application BNPL 2021-023, requiring relief of 0.9 meters from the required interior side yard setback of 1.2 meters to permit a
Marco
setback
Di Jacinto.
of 0.3
Is now exiting.
meters. As with the previous application, staff recommend that the application be deferred to allow Norfolk County provide the proper notice regarding the requested minor variance, time for the applicant to complete the necessary environmental work, as well as to provide the applicant an opportunity to work with staff to amend the application and submit the additional minor variance for the front yard parking application for the severed parcel.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions for staff. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. Is there an agent or applicant present that wishes to speak?
Amy and James?
Is now
It's
joining.
just Amy and James. We're just listening.
Sorry, are you wishing to speak regarding this application?
Yeah.
Okay. State your name, please.
Amy Purcell?
Okay, we're not dealing with that particular application yet.
Okay.
Okay, so when we get to that application, then I'll let you know.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you. You'll remind me.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. So we currently have
Amy and James?
Is now exiting.
We currently have a recommendation for a deferral. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Adam? Okay.
Thank you, Adam. And a seconder.
I'll second it.
Sorry,
Alan
who?
second.
I missed who seconded.
Alan seconds.
Thank you, Alan. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel? Marcel, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. And Rudy?
Yes. Every couple of minutes.
Okay.
I say yes.
And I
Sorry.
agree with deferral as well. So
Yes,
that application is deferred. Okay. The next application is file number BNPL 2021026. This is for severance. The applicant is Nicholas Walter Thompson, and it's for 241 Grove Street in Simcoe. And I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 17 meters, width of 17 meters, depth of 30 meters, and having an area of 510 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 2,343 square meters as the creation of a lot within the town of Simcoe. The purpose of this severance application is to establish the severed lands as a legal parcel of land, and a subsequent severance application, BNPL 2021-028, is to be read concurrently with this application, as the intent is to further sever the subject lands in order to construct a semi-detached dwelling on the severed lands. The subject lands are vacant and consist of a grassed area with various trees and shrubbery. The proposed retained lands are currently occupied by a single detached dwelling with an accessory structure at the back of the lot. Please note that an amendment has been made to articulate a condition regarding servicing requirements for this application, and include a condition from the building department that was missed in error. This will affect this subject application, the subsequent severance application, and the subsequent minor variance application, ANPL 2021-029. It is the opinion of staff seeking 2 front yard parking spaces does not meet the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Through discussion with one of the proponents, it was indicated to staff that the intention is now not to pursue an ADU and only pursue the 2 severances. Staff's original recommendation from the understanding that the ADU would be pursued for both dwellings in the semi-detached building was that the application be deferred to allow time for the applicant to work with staff to amend the application ANPL 2021-029 so that it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions for staff. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, is there an applicant or agent that wishes to add anything?
Yes, Nick Thompson. Just a clarification from staff there, from planning staff. I know the original recommendation was to defer to further look into the front yard parking, but now that that's been withdrawn, is the recommendation, or what is the new recommendation from the planning staff? Is it to defer or to proceed?
Through the chair. So my understanding is if the ADU is still occurring, then the decision to defer would maintain. Yeah.
Sorry, and then since the ADU is not proceeding, what is the recommendation then?
Sorry, and I'll just let my senior planner speak to that.
Through the chair, I would still recommend deferral on the applications until we have in writing that the minor variance application has been formally withdrawn and there are no deficiencies created through the severance application. So a deferral for a month would just give us a little bit more time to ensure that the zoning bylaw is actually being met in terms of the severance applications.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions for planning staff?
Well, I'm just curious if he's dropping the front yard parking, what's his parking alternative going to be going forward?
I can answer that if you don't mind, Nick Thompson. Yeah, so the front yard, the application was actually to allow 2 parking spots in the front yard plus the 1 in the garage to allow the 3 required parking spots for a main unit plus ADU. And we would just be dropping the variance for the 2 parking spots in the front, but would still have 1 in the front plus the garage, which would still be the 2 parking spots required for each residential unit. And all of that fits within the setbacks and so forth, and permitted allowance for percentage of front yard as parking as per the bylaws.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So my question then for staff is that you're still requesting deferrals to confirm or receive something in writing with regards to the ADU?
Through the chair, yes, we would just need in writing that the minor variance application has been formally withdrawn. And then we would do another quick review of the zoning to ensure there are no deficiencies we're missing that could be captured by the minor variance application. So it's just one last check to make sure we haven't missed anything and to provide the applicant an opportunity to pursue a minor variance if they still need one. We just want to make sure everything is captured with these applications. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a recommendation for deferral. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Can I make the motion that we would defer all 3 of these at the same time? That way, kind of for housekeeping.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that okay?
We have to present each. I'm being
Okay.
told we have to present each one and do a deferral for each one.
Okay.
Okay, so.
I'll move the deferral on this one, first one.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Seconder?
Rudy
I'll second
seconds.
that.
I got Rudy.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, all in favor of deferral? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
And I'm in favor as well. So that application is deferred. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2021028. The address is 241 Grove Street, Simcoe. Applicant is Nicholas Walter Thompson. And I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 8.5 meters, a width of 17 meters, a depth of 30 meters, and, having an area of 255 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 255 square meters as the creation of a lot within the town of Simcoe. As discussed earlier, staff's original recommendation from the understanding that an ADU would be pursued for both dwellings and the semi-detached was that the application be deferred to allow time for the applicant to work with staff to amend the application ANPL 2021-029 so that it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Thank you.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? And is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for deferral. Can I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Marcel approves.
Okay. You're approving the recommendation for deferral?
Yes, I am, for
Okay.
deferral.
Just clarifying that.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, and a seconder?
I'll make it clear.
Adam seconds.
Okay. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is deferred.
Let's just hold that. Thank you.
Okay, the next application is file number ANPL 2021029. The application is for a minor variance. Nicholas Walter Thompson is the applicant, and it's for 241 Grove Street in Simcoe. And I'll ask staff to give that report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through applications BNPL 2021-026 and 028, and the construction of a new dwelling requiring relief of 10% from the minimum front yard, maintained as landscaped area of 50%, to permit a reduced percentage of the landscaped area of 40%, in addition to 1 from the maximum required parking space that may be located within the required front yard, of 1 to permit 2 parking spaces within the required front yard. As previously discussed, staff's original recommendation from the understanding that an ADU would be pursued for both dwellings in the semi-detached building was that the application be deferred to allow time for the applicant to work with staff to amend the application so that it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Thank you.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application?
I'd like to just put something on record for these applications, if you don't mind.
Who's speaking, please?
This is Nick Thompson again.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, these 3 applications have been in front of the county for now almost a full 24 months. It's fully been known about them for 24 months. It's been in front of the committee almost a year ago. They were the first ones to get shut down due to water shortages, which was understandable at that time. But I'm just curious how it is that they've been in front of the county for 2 years and they still need more time to check to see if they fit the official zoning bylaws. Everything we've known about these, every meeting we've had, it was all okay. And then just the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden it's not, after 24 months of working together. It just seems like a waste to continue to push off affordable rental units in Norfolk, which I think are needed quite badly and could have been built many months ago if things were actually moving forward at all.
Okay, as far as the committee is concerned, we deal with the applications as they come to us. So whether this is
I understand that completely, and I'm not saying anything against the community or anything like that. Or I understand that the Norfolk staff has been turning over quite regularly too. It was just more, just stating it on the record there that it's been in the works for 2 years in front of planning, and yet they still can't tell us if it's if there's anything wrong with it or not. And like I said, 2 weeks ago, it was a perfect application ready to get approved. And now all of a sudden it's not. And this has happened multiple times over the last couple of years. So it's just more voicing frustration, I guess. Sorry, don't mean to waste your time.
That's okay, and I understand how you may get frustrated. So we've heard that comment, and now I'm going to ask the committee. We have a recommendation for deferral. If I could have somebody move that recommendation.
Rudy moves deferral.
Thank you, Rudy. And a seconder.
Alan seconds.
Thank you, Alan. All in favor? Adam? Adam?
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor as well, so that application is deferred. Okay, the next
Can I just
application.
ask, before we move on, Linda, to just ask the planning staff, this will be coming back next month for a final, hopefully.
I'll ask staff to answer that, please.
Through the chair, we can talk to you after the meeting. We still need clarification about the minor variance, and we can go from there. If everything works out, we could bring them back for next month. So we'll confirm in the next day or so.
Thank you. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2021328. Dwayne Pender is the applicant, and it's for a severance at 84 6 Concession Road, ENR, Clear Creek. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 44.13 meters, a width of the same measurement, a depth varying from 91.6 to 91.51 meters, and having an area of 4,000 square meters. And retain a parcel having an area of 40.62 hectares. To recognize a lot with an existing tax roll number and PIN, which was legally created in the 1970s for legal purposes. The subject lands are zoned and designated agriculture, hazard land, and provincially significant wetland. Staff recognize that this application represents a unique situation that represents a lot adjustment for legal purposes that will be essentially replacing a missing deed. There is no proposed additional development on the site. The LPRCA has been circulated and determined that since the interference with the PSW has already occurred, the LPRCA has no concerns for this application. And included for the applicant's information, any future development on the subject property will require a permit from the LPRCA. It is the opinion of staff that given the efforts on the proponent to demonstrate the site's history with regard to the deed, that the application is consistent with the PPS and in conformity with the official plan as it relates to the general consent to sever policies for legal and technical reasons, and recommend that this application be approved.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff?
Mark?
Is now exiting.
Okay, no questions for staff. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application?
Mary Elder's agent is here.
Okay, go ahead, Mary.
I just wanted to say this is the first time in my career I've ever seen a property like this with no deed. But I did talk with the lawyer this afternoon, Michael Weeb, and he remembers personally growing up in that area and seeing that house there back 3 generations ago. So it's certainly been there for a long time, the lot, but how it ever did not have a deed, we're not sure. So I appreciate the committee's support for this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Alan,
Recommend.
Okay, Alan,
approval.
and a seconder?
Rudy seconds.
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, all in favor of approval. Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
And I am as well. That application is approved. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2021344. The applicant is 2212638 Ontario Limited.
Dwayne Pender.
And the address is Donley
Is
Drive
now
in Simcoe.
exiting.
And I will ask staff to give that report, please.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I just lost my place there for a second. So an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 30 meters, a width of 29.31, a depth of approximately 67 meters, having an area of 2,028.5 square meters, which is approximately half an acre, and to retain a parcel having an irregular frontage and an area of approximately 1.5 hectares or 3.7 acres as the creation of a lot in the protected industrial area in Simcoe. Staff have reviewed the application against the PPS official plan and zoning bylaw amendment and recommend approval subject to the attached conditions. One condition of note I want to mention: in the memo circulated to the committee this afternoon, staff have worked with the agent to amend the second condition regarding an undertaking for services. Staff were happy with the proposal presented by the agent and are recommending approval subject to the amended condition.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, is there an agent or applicant present that would like to speak?
Hi, Madam Chair. Scott Palandre, the agent acting on our client's behalf.
Okay, do you have anything to add?
Just in regards to the amended condition, we'd like to thank Norfolk County staff for working with us to make that condition satisfactory to both ourselves and the county. We agree with the recommendation from Norfolk County staff and look forward to a decision.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Okay, thank you, Rudy. And a seconder?
Alan seconds.
Thank you, Alan. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel? Marcel?
Yes.
Okay. And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor as well. That application is approved. Next application is file number ANPL 2021345. The applicant is 2212638 Ontario Limited. Okay, if I got that right, yeah, okay. And it's for Donley Drive South in Simcoe, and I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. So this is a minor variance application seeking relief of 1.4 meters from the minimum lot frontage of 30 meters to permit a lot frontage of 28.6 meters in the general industrial zone for the lot created through the previous severance application that was just presented. The application is also seeking relief for the minimum services as outlined in the zoning bylaw. Staff again have reviewed the application against the PPS, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff are confident that the application meets the requirements of the Planning Act in regards to a minor variance. So the application meets the intent and purpose of the official plan, zoning bylaw, is considered appropriate development, and minor in nature. Therefore, we're recommending approval.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions for staff. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. We have a recommendation from staff for approval. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Adam?
Okay, Adam, and a seconder?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. Okay, all in favor of approval? Adam,
Yes.
Alan,
Yeah?
Marcel,
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved. Next application is BNPL 2021368. The applicant is 2212638 Ontario Limited, and it's for a severance at Donley Drive in Simcoe. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. So my apologies, the minor variance is actually connected to this severance application, not the first one that was presented. So I misspoke there. Sorry about that. So this is an application to sever a parcel having a frontage of 28.4 meters, a width of 26.06 meters, a depth of 84.45 meters, and having an area of 2,019.5 square meters, which is approximately half an acre, and to retain a parcel having an irregular frontage and an approximate area of 1.5 hectares as the creation of a lot in the general industrial area of Simcoe. And so the corresponding minor variance application that we just heard was in support of the reduced frontage. So staff have reviewed the application against the policies of the PPS official plan and zoning bylaw, and we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you.
Subject to the attached conditions and again the amended servicing condition.
Correct. Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. We have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Marcel moves.
Thank you, Marcel.
Approval.
And a seconder?
Rudy seconds.
Thank you, Rudy. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved. The next application is file number BNPL 2021316. The applicants are James Rainford and Amy Purcell. And the address is 3782 Teeterville Road in Teeterville. And I'll ask staff to give that report. Right.
Thank you. So an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 35.2 meters, a width of 35.2 meters, and a depth of 60.35 meters, and having an area of 2,119 square meters for approximately half an acre, and to retain a parcel having an area of 2,119 square meters, again, approximately half an acre, as the creation of a lot within the hamlet of Teeterville. Staff have reviewed the application against the PPS official plan and zoning and feel that it meets the intent of all the policies, subject to the minor variance application coming up next, I believe, and recommend approval subject to the attached conditions in the report.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions for staff. Now I understand Amy is on the line. If you wish to speak, you may do so now.
Girl, I'm.
Okay. I guess Amy's no longer with us.
Deferral, the agent is here.
Okay, Dave, would you like to speak?
I'm just here to answer any questions the committee might have.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for the agent? Okay, no questions. We have a recommendation for approval. And could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Alan moves that.
Thank you, Alan. A seconder?
Rudy seconds.
Thank you, Rudy. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. That application is approved. The next application is ANPL 2021317. This is for a minor variance, and the applicants are James Rainford and Amy Purcell at 3782 Teeterville Road in Teeterville. Okay, and I asked staff to give the report.
Thank you. So an application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through severance application BNPL 2021-316, the one I just presented, requesting relief of 1,881 square meters from the minimum permitted lot area of 4,000 square meters to permit a lot area of 2,119 square meters for the severed lands. Again, staff have assessed the application against the PPS official plan and zoning bylaw and feel that the intent of the policies have been met. We feel that the application satisfies the requirements of Section 45 of the Planning Act and recommend approval of the minor variance application.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? No questions from the committee. I actually have a question. So the zoning administrator comments existing accessory building to be moved as per Section 4, Section 4 of planning application. If the structure is moved to the retained lands, then relief of 1.1 meters will be required for building height and ensure structure meets all other RH zone provisions once moved. So I'm questioning, should the application be deferred? Like, is she going to have to come back with another application for another minor variance once that building is moved?
So through the consent application, one of the conditions is that the accessory structure be removed from the severed lands. We said removed so it gives the applicant an opportunity to figure out where they want to put it. So at the time of application, they haven't indicated that they want to move it to the severed, the retained lands. But the agent was well aware of the condition, and once they figure out where they're going to relocate, or they might remove the building, but if it has to be relocated and it's decided it comes back to the retained lands, another minor variance application will be required. But the applicants are aware of that.
But can that not be dealt with on this minor variance?
It could potentially be. They just haven't applied for it. So we're just assessing based on the application that's been submitted.
So can we include that as on this application so they don't have to come back if they decide to move that building?
Personally, I would feel uncomfortable to just add it to this minor variance application because it hasn't been circulated to staff or the public in that manner. So you're welcome to speak with Dave Rowe and ask him those questions as well. It's just that would be my recommendation, would be not to just add it to this minor variance without providing proper notice to the neighbors.
Do you have any comments, Dave?
I'd leave it up to the committee. I'm not totally sure what their plans are for that building, but again, I'll leave it up to the committee. If the committee wishes to include that, that would potentially save us an application and further aggravation. So I'll just leave it that way.
Okay, well, I guess my concern now that is adding it at this time is with not having the proper circulation, but I just feel like that was a oversight or a disservice to the applicant that it wouldn't be included just to save them the not having to come back for another minor variance in the future. But I think at this time it's probably, with regards to the circulation process, it's maybe not appropriate to add it now, but I'm kind of disappointed. That's all I can say.
But if I could add something, the county has changed their process where normally in the past, we would have got a deficiency form completed by the building department even before we made the application. Now they don't do that, and we wind up with these kind of circumstances where we don't find out to the 11th hour that there's a deficiency. So again, it's more of a structural problem with how the county's administering them. I don't know why they changed their means and methods of doing it, but it can be frustrating for applicants and creates more work, frankly, for everybody. But that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, I'll ask planning staff if they have any comments with regards to that.
Through the chair, just one point of clarification. That type of deficiency wouldn't have been caught on the deficiency forms that would have been provided previously, because the application did not suggest that the structure was going to be moved to the retained lands. So the deficiency wouldn't have been caught at that time. I can say that when I started reviewing the application, I did have conversations with the agent about the accessory structure, and the conversations led down the path, well, let's just add a condition to the severance application so we can proceed with the applications that were submitted, and it would still provide a bit of flexibility for future. So if that accessory building doesn't land on the retained lands, it wouldn't require a minor variance. If the building goes to another parcel owned by the applicants, it may not need a minor variance. If they decide they want it on the retained lands, that was their risk, that another minor variance would be required. So.
Okay, just one more question. So would it be worthwhile to defer the minor variance portion of this application to determine if they want to move it to the retained lands and then recirculate?
Staff would be agreeable to that if the agent and owners are okay with that. The severance was just approved on condition of the minor variance being approved, so there will be a bit of time delay to get the minor variance approved. So I'll leave that up to the agent to comment further.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any direction from the applicant. I know that they do want to proceed and get the severance. So my inclination would be to simply proceed, and if need be, we can bring in another application. I think they'd like to just get the matter finalized as much as they can today. So.
Okay. That being said, we have a recommendation for approval, and can I have a committee member move that recommendation?
I'll move that, Madam Chair, Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. A seconder?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor, so that is approved. Next application is file number ANPL 2021318. The applicant is James Rainford and Amy Purcell, and the address is 3782 Teeterville Road, Teeterville. Okay, and I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. So this is a minor variance application to recognize deficiencies created through severance application BNPL 2021-316, where the applicant is requesting relief of 1,881 square meters from the minimum permitted lot area of 4,000 square meters to permit a lot area of 2,119 square meters for the lands to be retained. So again, staff assessed the application against the PPS official plan and zoning bylaw amendment. We feel that the application meets the intent of Section 45 of the Planning Act. So it meets the overall intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan, as well as it's appropriate for the proposed development, and it is considered minor. Staff are recommending approval of the application as well.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Can I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy. A seconder?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. That application is approved. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2021319. It's Fred and Carol Lambert at 521
Is now exiting.
Avalon Lane in Simcoe. And I will ask staff to give that report.
Thank you. So an application has been received to sever an irregular shaped parcel having no frontage, a width of 1.76 meters, a depth of approximately 22.69 meters, having an area of approximately 21.84 square meters, and to retain a parcel having an area of 451.6 square meters as a boundary adjustment in the resort area of Avalon. Again, staff have assessed the application against the provincial policy statement, official plan, and zoning bylaw. We feel that the application meets the requirements of the official plan regarding boundary adjustments and recommend approval subject to the conditions attached to the report. One condition I do want to highlight for this application in particular is that another minor variance application will be required to address deficiencies for setback. They weren't captured. A second minor variance application is actually required. And we have received comments from a neighbor regarding their concern for that future minor variance application. But with that said, staff are still recommending approval of the boundary adjustment.
Okay, and does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, I just have one question, and it's again whether that future application could have been dealt with on the application that's following this one.
Thank you. That's a great question, Chair. So the application that was submitted, the minor variance that was connected to the boundary adjustment was for, I don't want to misspeak, was for the retained parcel. So you have, and the one that's recommended in the report is for the severed parcel. So two minor variance applications were actually required to facilitate the boundary adjustment, but staff felt that it was still appropriate to move forward with the severance application with the one minor variance because it still meets the intent of the policies, subject to approval of a second minor variance application for the severed parcel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation from staff for approval. Can I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. And a seconder?
Alan?
Alan, thank you. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel? Marcel? Okay, Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor of approval.
Marcel, yes.
Okay, thank you. That application is approved. The next application is file number ANPL 2021320. It's for a minor variance, and it's Fred and Carol Lambert at 521 Avalon Lane in Simcoe. And I'll ask staff to give that report, please.
So yes, an application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through severance application BNPL 2021-319, where the applicant is requesting relief of 3,548.5 square meters from the minimum permitted lot area of 4,000 square meters to permit a lot area of 451 square meters on the retained lands as identified through the consent application. So staff again have reviewed the application. In this particular case, the lots originally were substantially smaller than what's required in the zoning bylaw, so they were already non-conforming. The reason for the minor variance application and why it might seem so extreme is because we are recognizing the new deficiency created as a result of the boundary adjustment. So there's already an undersized lot. We're just sort of recognizing that because it is getting bigger due to the boundary adjustment. Or I should say, yeah, it's getting smaller actually. So this is for the retained lands. So we're just recognizing that deficiency to be consistent with the zoning bylaw. So again, we do feel that it is consistent with the PPS, the official plan, and the intent of the zoning bylaw. It is appropriate for the resort area of Avalon, and we do feel in this particular instance it is minor in nature and recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any questions for planning staff? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy. A seconder?
Alan?
Alan, thank you. Okay, all in favor of approval. Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved. Next application is BNPL 2021334, and it's applicants George and Wilhelmina Vermeesh, and it's at 1344 Bell Mill Side Road in Tilsonburg, and I'll ask staff to give that report, please.
Thank you. Me again. So this is an application to sever a parcel having a frontage of so I'm going to read the original proposal and then I'll speak to the amendment that's attached in the memo. So again, this is an application that has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 74.68 meters, a width of 74.68 meters, a depth of 124.66 meters, having an area of 0.75 hectares, and to retain a parcel having an area of 22.48 hectares, so approximately 55.5 acres, as the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. There's also going to be a concurrent zoning application to restrict any additional houses being constructed on the retained lands. So staff have reviewed the application against the necessary policies in the PPS, the official plan, and the zoning. One thing that did come up after site inspections was that there is like a landscape area adjacent to the house. So after going to the site and speaking with the agent, staff recommended a modified lot to retain a lot of the cultivated area of the adjacent farm. So that leads us to the survey sketch that's attached to the memo that was circulated previously. So the agent and applicants have agreed to modify the size and shape of the proposed lot and follow sort of the existing line of cultivation to retain the crops for the adjacent farm. So as a result, the agent has asked that the proposal be modified to reflect the reduced lot area. And that's contained in the package that was circulated. So the width, the frontage has been reduced to 68.97 meters. The width is proposed to be 68.97 meters. The depth will remain the same, but the area of the lot has been reduced to 0.7 hectares, which is approximately 1.73 acres. And the retained parcel will be 22.53 hectares, so approximately 55.67 acres. So again, the lot is a little bit larger than we like to see typically as a severance through farm amalgamation, but given the site, the way it's set up, the location of the house, the septic location, existing landscaping, staff feel that it was the best compromise for this situation. And we are recommending approval subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Can I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. A seconder?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. That application is approved. Okay. The next application is file number ANPL 2021331. The applicant is Doug Hyington, and the address is 169 Norfolk County Road 57, Port
David
Ryerson.
Road.
And I will
Is
ask
now exiting.
staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to construct a 10.97 meter by 12.19 meter accessory building for a total usable floor area of 133.72 square meters, requiring relief of approximately 39.3 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area of 100 square meters. The subject lands are currently occupied by a single residential dwelling and two accessory structures measuring 5.8 square meters, which are proposed to remain on the subject lands, and an additional accessory structure measuring 11.5 square meters, which will be removed to create space for this proposed structure. The surrounding land uses are agricultural to the north, with low-density residential lots which are zoned residential hamlet. Staff have the opinion that this subject application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance, in that it meets the intent and purpose of the RH zone and hamlet designation, is appropriate for the surrounding character of the rural area, and is minor in nature, and recommend that this application be approved.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy. And a seconder? Could I have someone second
Adam.
that?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan? Alan?
Yes.
Okay, Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved. Okay, the next application is file number ANPL 2021336, and the applicants are Ezekiel and Barbara Gulab-Singh. The address is 44 Serviceberry Lane in Simcoe. It's for a minor variance, and I'll ask staff to give
Doug
report.
Hayington.
Is now exiting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to construct an addition to an existing residential dwelling requiring relief of 3.65 meters from the required 6-meter setback to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 2.35 meters. The subject lands are a dwelling unit on a corner lot within a townhouse development with an existing porch that is proposed to be extended for the purpose of the construction of a sunroom. The building inspector providing comments noted that the proposed design may not meet building code standards, which flagged the issue to staff. Please note that a revised building comments have been submitted in the memo, and planning staff have been notified that a building permit was issued in error and subsequently will be revoked by Fritz Enslin, the chief building official. With regard to an evaluation of planning policy for a requested setback, it is the opinion of staff that the subject application satisfies the 4 tests of a minor variance and that it meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan, is appropriate for the surrounding residential context, and is minor in nature. Staff recommend this application for approval with the understanding that there are comments from building that need to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Can I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. And a seconder?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Who's speaking,
We,
please?
the owners of the, we appreciate the fact that the recommendation for approval is being recommended for the minor variance. We have some a few questions with respect to the building permit. Did I understand you to say that the building permit that was issued has been revoked?
I'll refer that to staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair, my understanding in a conversation with the building inspector who provided comments to the application is that the building permit was issued in error. So in terms of procedure, what should be happening is that a permit is not issued until the minor variance has been approved. The building inspector consequently reviews all the aspects of the application. So it's my understanding that a building permit will be revoked because it was issued in error.
I have another question. What is the difference between adding a room, as you seem to think, as opposed to enclosing a porch? Like, we have the deck, and we have the building permit for the deck. If we were just to enclose the porch with windows, what is the difference?
So through the chair, my understanding of the zoning bylaw is that once you essentially enclose a porch, like through a sunroom or with walls, it's treated as an extension of the building.
If there are other porches like this in Simcoe attached to a sunroom, and I don't understand what the difference is.
Hi, so through the chair, the planning department doesn't assess the requirements of the building code. So we're just looking at the minor variance through this forum. We can definitely provide a building inspector contact information, so you can ask them the particulars about the building code in relation to what you're proposing to build.
Yes, please do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll send you their contact information so you can ask them about that. But in this in this case, Han is recommending approval of the minor variance. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So the minor variance is the recommendation is being approved, and then we will meet with the building inspector with respect to the building permit for the sunroom.
And specifications.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. We have a recommendation for approval, and I had Alan move that recommendation. Could I have somebody second that recommendation?
Marcel will second that.
Thank you, Marcel. Okay, all in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2021322. The applicant is 2842941 Ontario Inc., care of Jeff Fung, and it's for 124 Hartree Road in Delhi. And I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 329 meters, a width of 328.4 meters, and a depth that's variable, roughly between 211 to 213 meters, and with an area of 16.41 acres, and to retain a parcel having an area of 44.86 acres as the creation of a lot in the R1A zone and urban residential designation. The retained lands are currently agricultural in nature and front onto Hawtree Road in the urban area of Delhi. This application received 2 comments from the members of the public, which have been submitted to committee with the memo. Through the chair, would you like me to proceed with reading the comments? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So we received a letter on December the 8th, and it goes as such. Dear Sir or Madam, I am a homeowner on Hawtree Road and am in receipt of your notice of hearing. I would like to request that the applicant and or Norfolk County address the following issues of concern, not only to me, but for all residents living in the immediate vicinity to this proposed development. 1. Why is viable farmland being rezoned for residential development when we already have 2 other locations approved for future home development on the eastern side of town? 2. Does this motion facilitate more of the specific farmland being rezoned in the future? 3. How does the applicant and or Norfolk County propose to resolve the already existing traffic speeding problem on our road? With this future increased traffic, this can only cause an increase in concern for the many young families who live here. A plan to address this issue is respectfully requested. 4. What will be the environmental impact of such a large development on the watershed into Big Creek? Will the county be asking for an environmental assessment in this regard? 5. There are genuine concerns regarding the added pressure to our already limited resources, such as sewage, water supply, not to mention health services. Will the county confirm that these issues have been or will be addressed? Can you please ensure that these questions are included at the upcoming meeting on December 15th? Please confirm receipt of this request. Regards. And through the chair, there's a name. Just to confirm, do I include the name in the, no? Okay. Thank you. And through the chair, the second comment is as follows. My wife and I own 44 Melody Drive in Delhi and received the notice of hearing which mentions that additional information is available in advance about the severance application. Would you please forward the information about the development plans for the proposed severance? As far as the hearing, here are our comments prior to receiving details of proposed development. 1. The property has a slope from the northwest to the southeast, resulting in frequent standing water along the lane abutting the homes on the north side of Melody Drive, with buildings, paved streets, etc. The ability of the soil to absorb runoff will be impaired and exacerbate surface water impact to the Melody Drive properties without significant drainage considerations. What are the plans for drainage? 2. There have been infrequent historic problems with sanitary sewage blockage on Melody Drive. It is a dead-end sewage line running to Hawtree and then south. Will the development and increased sewage demands on the existing lines be accommodated with proper capacity so Melody Drive issues are not repeated? 3. Most houses on Melody Drive are bungalows and enjoy the unobstructed vistas on the farmland. What are the plans regarding the height of any proposed buildings, fencing of the property, retention of existing trees along the eastern edge of the property? 4. The proposed severed area is sandy soil, and during the brief periods it has been unplanted. It generates significant sand and dust blowing onto the Melody Drive properties. The existing farm operators have been very good at planting ground coverage to minimize soil loss and dust. We are concerned that a prolonged period of development without soil coverage will greatly impact the enjoyment of our backyard, especially during periods of wind from the west, which is the prevailing wind direction most of the year. 5. Many of the residents of Melody Drive, Hawtree Road, and Wintergreen Crescent use Hawtree Road for walking and cycling. There are no sidewalks on Hawtree. As the number of homes are low, traffic is fairly light most of the day, and safety has not been a major issue. We are concerned that significant development without additions of sidewalks along Hawtree may endanger pedestrians and cyclists. Hawtree and the south part of Highway 59 to the new lights at Highway 3 have no sidewalks, and the nearest park is near the community arena. Access to areas for walking at the park with the additional traffic of development will expose walkers or cyclists to additional hazard without sidewalks. Thank you for considering these comments, and we plan to attend the hearing virtually on December 15th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does committee members have any questions for planning staff?
Does planning staff have any comments to those concerns or the ones that fall under the purview of the planning department?
Thank you. Through the chair. So to kind of contextualize this application, the subject application is to sever the lot in land which has been zoned and designated for development through a previous zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment, which were approved by council about 14 years ago. Their codes are ZN-026/2008 and OPN-003/2008, respectively. So any proposed development will need to comply with the provisions and policies as set out by the zoning bylaw and official plan for this zone and designation. I can kind of speak on a high level that I would say a majority of these concerns are something that would have been considered during this time, and some very site-specific concerns are something that could be captured in subsequent planning applications or at the site plan stage. So hopefully that begins to address the concerns at a high level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You may do so now. Okay, nobody wishes to speak. Then we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a committee member move that recommendation?
Alan moves it.
Sorry, was that Alan?
Yes, please.
Okay, and a seconder?
Rudy seconds.
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, all in favor of approval. Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yeah.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm also in favor. That application is approved. Okay, the next application is file number ANPL 2021330. The applicant is Titus Buma, and the address is 160 Stanley Street, units 1 to 30 in Simcoe. And I'll ask staff to give the report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to construct 30 new dwellings requiring relief of parking space dimensions, 0.43 meters in width and 0.73 meters in depth from the required parking space dimensions of 3.3 meters in width and 5.8 meters in depth, resulting in a final parking space dimension size of 2.865 meters in width and 5.063 meters in depth. The subject lands are occupied by a townhouse development with attached garages, which will be affected by the proposed minor variance, in the urban area of Simcoe. Staff have reviewed the application and are of the opinion that it meets the 4 tests of a minor variance, and that it meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. It is appropriate because it supports the proposed use for residential dwellings, and is minor because it affects 1/2 of the required parking spaces for each dwelling unit, while not affecting additional parking provisions as set out by the zoning bylaw. Staff recommend that this application be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for planning staff? Okay, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application?
Hi, just Carlos De Silva here of Huron Creek Developments, just representing the applicant. If there are any questions, I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the agent? Okay, I hear none. All right, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have a member of the committee move that recommendation?
Marcel moves the
Thank you,
recommendation.
Marcel. A seconder?
Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, all in favor of approval. Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor. That application is approved. Okay, and that concludes the application portion of our meeting tonight. Okay, we have Tricia on the line, or in attendance, I should say. And can you hear us, Tricia?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Did you want to speak with regards to other business?
Here, let me turn my camera on so you can see me. Can everybody see me okay?
Yep.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so there was a memo that I believe was sent to the Secretary Treasurer in regards to some previous decisions of council around a housekeeping or updating the zoning bylaw with a housekeeping matter. So I should mention Teresa Olson, the county clerk, is also on the call today as well. So just wanted to advise in terms of procedural order, that memo, well, it wouldn't be appropriate for that memo to go directly to council. Staff will review it. In terms of the Sorry,
is
I'm not
now
sure what's
exiting.
happening. So the proper procedural order would be that that memo staff will review. We're not familiar with whatever that situation was, so staff would need some time to review the situation and determine what actually occurred, and then ensure that whatever council direction was given was implemented if it was missed through that the last housekeeping bylaw in 2019. Teresa, are you here on the call? Was there anything further you wanted to add to that in terms of the correct procedures for Committee of Adjustment?
Thank you, through the chair. So I just want to make it, make it clear that the mandate of the Committee of Adjustment is to hear matters pertaining to planning matters as a tribunal. The Committee of Adjustment is not an advisory board to council, so it's not in the committee's mandate to make general requests to council on how to amend planning matters or planning policy. The Committee of Adjustment is a tribunal that hears matters of application and makes determinations on the applications that are before the board. Individual members of the committee on their own may lobby the county, may lobby council to make those changes, may have conversations with staff on suggestions that maybe staff might want to bring forward to council. But again, the Committee of Adjustments terms of reference are very clear. It's a tribunal for tribunal purposes.
Okay, so just with regards to that, I guess what's done is done in the past, but in September of 2019, on behalf of the committee, we received a lot of applications for the increase in accessory buildings for the agricultural area and the resort residential area. So back then, the committee discussed it and asked, I guess it was decided that I would, on behalf of the committee, would do a deputation to council. So I did, and it was requesting them to increase in the zoning bylaw for those two areas, the agricultural and the resort residential, by 2 meters, because that seemed to be consistent with the requests we were getting. So to increase from 5 meters to 7 in the resort residential, and from 6 meters to 8 in the agricultural zones. So I did the deputation, and on the, I didn't attach all the backup to the memo that I asked Sherry to circulate here tonight, but I did on the memo that I sent to council and mayor and council. But I included the minutes of the September meeting where council directed staff to make those changes during the general zoning bylaw update in the fall of 2019. And then recently we dealt with an application, and it was for a boathouse in the resort residential area. And it was requesting relief from the height of 5 meters, which I remembered that I had done the deputation and we had increased that, or the intent was to increase that. So I followed up to find out, I got the minutes of the council meeting, and they directed staff in the minutes to increase that for the accessory to residential uses in both of those zones. And it was the intent, I guess, of the committee at the time. Boathouses are listed as an accessory to residential uses. And it was our intention that boathouses would be included. So the memo was just, I guess, asking for that to be corrected, and it was obviously an oversight. So my apologies for if I was to send that directly to staff first, but the intent was to bring it to the committee tonight to let them know that I would be forwarding that to council as an item that was to be maybe corrected from the direction that was given to staff previously. Does that make sense to everybody?
So again, through the chair, I think if you as an individual want to reach out to council to indicate that you believe a deputation was held on a matter that hasn't been corrected, it is not the place of the committee to do that.
Okay, so I guess then I'll ask you to intercept that memo, because it's been put into the mail addressed to mayor and council.
So I guess I'm confused how that went out without approval of the committee, which if it's just coming here, that's odd, but I will definitely ask the staff to pull that when it comes, or ask the mayor to send it to me when she gets it.
Okay. Okay. And so I will do that then on my own, and it won't be identified or so associated with the committee then. Okay, is there any other business? Just one thing I was going to ask. So Alan, you had asked a question to Sherry with regards to the procedural issue with the application that was withdrawn tonight because it was appealed. And maybe Teresa or Tricia would like to talk about that.
Through the chair, I think the key, because that particular issue has been appealed, I'm not sure how much we can speak to in terms of correct procedural orders. What Teresa and I have talked about doing is a refresh for committee. And the other key thing we're doing is updating, well, we have to, the bylaw for committee of adjustment and the terms of reference. We're going to update it and connect it more clearly to the council procedural order. So in the first quarter of next year, we will be addressing those two items in two ways. One with a refresh for current committee, and then updating the terms of reference to better reflect and mirror what should be happening in terms of the procedural order.
So I guess part of the question I had was the chair voting to cause a tie.
So through the chair, if I may, the procedural bylaw for the county, which is what binds every committee of council or tribunal, and it's also clearly outlined in the terms of reference of the establishing bylaw for the committee of adjustment, that all members of the committee must vote. So that includes the chair. The chair must vote on every matter. So whether a chair votes and it ends up in a tie or not, the chair has to vote. So that there's no opportunity for a chair to not vote and then throw the vote when they want. They have to vote on every motion. And if a vote ends in a motion, no matter who voted which way, if it ends in a tie, the motion fails.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other business? And Sherry would like to say something.
Sorry, it's really not other business, but I just wanted to thank the committee this year for all their hard work and dedication to this group. We've had a pretty busy year. Wanted to wish everybody happy holidays and a healthy new year, and we'll see you next year.
Okay, thank you. And it is now 6:34, and if there's no other business, I have a resolution that the committee adjourns and to meet again at the next regular session to be held at Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. Could I have somebody move that recommendation?
So moved, Alan.
Okay, I got Alan. A seconder?
Rudy?
Okay, Rudy. All in favor of adjournment? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm in favor, so we are now adjourned. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
Yes,